Hi everyone, welcome to Spellbinders' new release, The Painter's Garden by Susan Tierney-Cockburn. All of Susan's three-dimensional flowers are absolutely gorgeous, and this collection is no exception. This first card features a shrub called Carolina Allspice with its beautiful rich red blooms. I'm beginning by creating a card front using a die set called Layered Stitched Background. 2 panels are die cut for each of the 3 layers, and the layers are being alternated between ivory and a soft pink cardstock. The first and third layers are out of the ivory cardstock, sandwiching the pink one in between. When 2 of these layered backgrounds are put together, they will create an A2 size panel, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. 2 panels are adhered to pink cardstock before being mounted on an A2 size card base. Carolina Allspice die set comes with 3 different sizes of petals and the branch. I've already colored and shaped a couple of the branches and have my basic layout, so now I'll get busy on the 3rd branch. I will be adding in some additional leaves at the very end. Everything will be Copic colored. The woody portion of the branch is colored with E27 and E49. I start off by coloring everything with the E27, and then once I've determined how it's going to be sitting on the panel, where the shadow area will be, I go in with the darker brown E49. The branch will be adhered to the card front by the main woody stem. Because of all the dimension, I will color in the shorter stems on the back of the branch. All of the leaves will be colored with YG23 and 67. I start off with the darker green, mapping in my shadow areas, and then finishing off with the lighter green. I'll apply a second coat by feathering on the dark green and then finishing off with the light green again. The feathering will allow the two to blend seamlessly. All of the leaves on the back of the branch are colored in with the dark green. All of the shaping will be done with Susan's Garden Ultimate Toolkit. This comes with everything that you will need to easily shape flowers. For the branch, I'll start off by working on the leaf mat using the smallest ball tool snapped into the handle. The collar on the handle is pulled down, and then the attachment with its textured side is slipped down in the area where there's a little round circle area behind the collar. When the collar is released, it snaps up, locking the ball tool into position. I'm starting off by putting the central vein on each of the leaves. I have my branch face down on the leaf mat. I like to draw in this line a couple of times. With the right side of the branch facing towards me, I then fold back each of the leaves. I'm then going to put a little bit of light green paper glaze on my finger and highlight each of the veins. The branch is then placed face up on the leaf mat, and the ball tool is used to put in some of those smaller veins coming off of the main one. Next, I reach for the reverse tweezers out of the toolkit and place them down the center of the leaf. I slide my fingers down the tweezers to hold it firmly in position and press the side of the leaves up. And each side of the leaf is curled down. So again, the center of the leaf is placed in the tweezers and the sides are pressed up. Then the edge of each side of the leaf is caught between the tweezers and curled down. and this branch will be positioned at the top of the panel. The liquid adhesive is applied only to the main woody stem. The sentiment from Outline Sentiments is foam backed and adhered to the card front so that the branches can be positioned around it. The flowers for this shrub will be comprised of 3 different sizes of petal layers. To get the proper fullness, 2 layers of each size will be needed. And right on the die it says 2 times, so you die cut it twice. Blooms on this shrub are very rich. I'm going to be using an R59, which is a medium red. It is going to be paired with RV99, a very deep rose violet. At the center of the flower will be the 4-petaled layer. This one is colored with that deep rose violet, both front and back. For the medium and large petal layers, the center is colored with the dark rose violet and then finished up with the red. And the back of these blooms are finished off with R59. I wouldn't want to use the RV99. It is so dark that color would be sure to show through to the right side. The medium red R59 blends very nicely with the RV99. I just do a little scrubbing motion where the 2 meet. 2 sets of these petals are required for each flower. To shape the flowers, I'll be working on the foam molding mat with the small ball tool again and regular tweezers. Before shaping, I'll spritz all of the layers of petals with some water. This will help loosen up the fibers, making it easier to shape them. These petals are quite fine, so you don't want to use too much water. Otherwise, you would run the risk of maybe tearing a petal off. The thin nose of the tweezers is placed down the center of each of the petals, and then the 2 sides are pinched upwards. All of the flower layers are now on the molding mat, and the small ball tool is depressed in the center of the flower, causing them to cup upwards. To assemble, I like to start with the flower center. The smallest layers are put together, making sure that the petals are offset from one another. After I've done this, I like to depress it with the ball tool to make sure that it's well adhered. After the 2 medium layers are put together, again making sure that those petals are offset, the small layers of petals are placed in the center of that. This portion of the flower will have a much tighter appearance than the other 2 larger layers. So I depress it and then I squeeze it in with my fingers to make sure that it has a nice tight form. I can go ahead and adhere those 2 larger petal layers together, again making sure that the petals are offset from one another, and then the center of the flower is adhered. Flower buds can be included on the branch, and they will be put together with the 2 smallest sets of petal layers. Same process is followed. All of the petal layers are sprayed lightly with water. Tweezers are used to fold each petal in half upwards. The centers of the petals are depressed with the ball tool. The 2 sets of petal layers are adhered together, offsetting the petals from one another. I depress the smallest set of petals so that it will slip easily into the next pair of petals. All pair of petals are adhered to the center of the middle-sized ones. The centers of the flower buds will have a tight form. They are depressed with the ball tool and then squeezed together with my fingers. First set of flowers are arranged on the branches and then adhered with liquid adhesive. I use a fairly good dollop of glue just to make sure that they're going to be well secured. The sentiment on the shadow die was looking a little washed out, so I used the same Copic markers that were used to color the flowers to create a gradient on some cardstock and die cut the thanks again. So I thought I was finished and went ahead and put on some pretty red confetti and topped it up with Nouveau Crystal Drops Morning Dew. I liked the card, but I wasn't 100% happy with it, and so often what I'll do in that case is just leave it overnight and look at it the next morning with fresh eyes. I ended up die cutting a couple of branches and then cutting them apart to help fill out some areas of the card. I also added in an additional flower, and then I was done. I hope you enjoyed this video working with the gorgeous Carolina Allspice die set. Be sure to check out all the other beautiful flowers in this collection by Spellbinders, The Painter's Garden. Thank you for stopping by. As always, I appreciate your visit.